August is a month that we tend to be harvesting lots of vegetables. So things like squash and tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, even fruit. But if we plan now and get some seeds sown pretty quick, we can get some autumn harvests in the ground so that we've got some crisp greens ready to pick in September, October, and even later. And so today I'm going to be sowing these seeds and more directly into the Vegepods behind me. These are my raised beds that I have at the end of the deck. And I'm going to be taking you through them, and maybe you could start sowing some too. First things first, the Vegepods need a refresher. So I've removed all of the spent crops from both and have decided it's time to change the mesh covers. The old ones have lasted many years, but they're starting to get a little bit frayed. I've also topped up the surface of these large containers with fresh potting mix. Everything's ready now, and next I'm going to sow the seeds. But what seeds can we sow right now? And it really does depend on where you live in the world, your region, your climate, all of those factors around temperature and what to expect over the next few months. The seeds that I'm sowing today, they're all for crops that I will be harvesting relatively soon, so before winter is really here. All of the seeds in my hand are for vegetables that I can sow today and then harvest the crops within 10 to 12 weeks, or 8 to 12 weeks rather. And I've got a couple of different types of spinach here. We've got Nevada, and also Matador. This is self-saved seed. Both of them are heat tolerant, so hopefully they should do all right now in August. The next two are Asian green vegetables. We've got pak choi and chop suey greens. And although you can sow these in spring, right now it's a better time to grow these, at least in my climate, because in spring they can be targeted by flea beetles. And now, at the end of summer, they won't. There are two different types of radishes here. This one here is a Spanish black radish. It's a winter radish, much larger than these typical radishes over here. Both can be sown right now. I've got some interesting greens in here, including sorrel. This is a kind of a lemony green. It's got that oxalic acid kick to it. And we've got some spicy American landcress. We've got some spicy rocket. There's also coriander, aka cilantro. And last but not least, we've got a few different types of lettuce. Some of my George Richardson that I love, and then some mixed salad leaves, and this gorgeous red leaf variety. I've drawn 9 drills in this large veggie pod, and they're all about 8 inches apart. And I've gone ahead and pre-watered each one of them so that when I sprinkle the seeds on, like this pak choi, they'll come into direct contact with moist soil, and that will help to kickstart germination. And I've got all of these rows relatively close together because I don't need to leave any space or gaps for weeding, because I'm standing right here. So as these plants grow, I can reach in and pull out anything. And that way I maximize my growing space and growing potential. I'm also maximizing my growing potential because this is on my deck. And in my last video, I shared so many other ways that I'm growing, including raised beds, the no-dig beds, containers. But this is a space that would normally have nothing really on it. So this is basically creating an oasis from a desert that is my deck. And if you don't have any outdoor growing space, so you do have maybe a balcony or hard standing, this creates a raised bed and you can grow so much in it. I have tended to use this mainly in the spring and autumn, or late summer autumn, for growing salad greens. And then in between, I have also grown loads of carrots. Because this container, this raised bed, is almost waist height, it keeps the carrot root fly off of the carrots. So it elevates them, because those flies, they only fly about 18 inches from the surface of the soil. So that keeps them off. The mesh cover keeps cabbage white butterflies off. And so it is kind of protecting these young plants and growing in a very convenient place for me to water and keep an eye on them. Between the two Vegepods, I've sown 12 rows of 12 different types of vegetables for late summer to autumn harvest. They'll begin germinating in about a week or two, and we'll check back on them in the next garden tour video. The Vegepod beds are full now, and I still have some seeds to sow. So I've saved a couple of types that will be a little bit more resilient, direct sown out in the garden. And also it will suit them a little bit better being out here too. So dill is quite tall, so the cover on the Vegepods would get in the way. So that's going directly outside. I've got those Spanish black winter radishes. They'll do okay out here as well. The leaves might get targeted by slugs a little bit later into the season, so September, October, but we don't tend to eat those, mainly just the roots, so that's fine. And I've also got some spring onions, and I've made 3 drills along here. And this is where I'm going to be sowing them direct, and then maybe over on the other side as well. And so if you don't have containers to sow your autumn vegetables into, just direct sow them into the soil like I'm doing here. Or you can also just put them first into modules, so sow the seeds directly into modules, and then plant out the young seedlings once they get to a certain size. And that's what I also tend to do. The last seeds that I'm going to sow today are garden peas, and I have until the 20th of August to sow seeds, get them started before that's it for the rest of the summer. And I'm sowing a variety called Terrain, and it's mildew resistant, powdery mildew resistant, which is really important in late summer, early autumn when growing peas, because it's a real pest and it can stop your peas from producing. And as usual, I'm going to be sowing them into my plastic gutter here. I've got some multi-purpose potting mix at the bottom, peat-free of course, and I'll be putting in 2 rows and spacing them out about 1 inch apart. And then I'll be placing this in the greenhouse until I see the very first green shoots, at which point I'll take it out into the garden and then slide it down into a little ditch that I make in one of the no-dig beds. Well, that job is done and dusted, and I have sown a lot of seeds today. Things like leafy greens, some different types of wintry roots, some oniony greens. And if you have taken inspiration from anything that I've sown today, get your seeds sown as quickly as possible, because time is running out until winter and the first frost starts. So eke out that second spring. Use these warm days to get seeds started and get that last harvest in before it's too late. And if you wanted some more information on the Vegepods here, I've left a couple of links down in the video text description. You can get them in the United States, in the UK, Ireland, various places around the world. And if you would like to see even more ways that I grow in the garden, you can watch this video next. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.